It's called the Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights, or LEOBOR, and we've learned the process can be so time-consuming and costly, some police chiefs may be reluctant to punish an officer. The video, infamous. Lincoln police officer Edward Crowitz caught on a Twin River casino security camera kicking a handcuffed woman to the head in May 2009.
I had raised my leg up to block.
Crowitz was convicted of felony assault, but he wasn't immediately fired as an officer. The town wanted him gone, but Crowitz, through the Law Enforcement Officer Bill of Rights, fought it.
To keep her away from me.
More than 2 years later and $36,000 in legal fees paid for by taxpayers, Crowitz ended up resigning on the first day of the Bill of Rights hearing, but taxpayers were already stuck with the legal bill. Then there was Providence police officer Katchig Kasanjian.
It was just despicable behavior.
Providence Public Safety Commissioner Stephen Perry says Kasanjian responded to a domestic violence call and had sexual contact with a 19-year-old woman involved in the incident while in uniform. By law, Kasanjian was suspended with pay, and the city dished out tens of thousands in legal fees to fire him. It took 6 months and just over $96,000, including suspended with pay.
It takes too long, it's too expensive, and it takes the authority from the police chief away and leaves it with someone that's outside of that department.
Target 12 requested data from each police department in the state and analyzed the numbers. Of the 36 departments that responded, we found there have been 23 LEOBOR cases in the last 5 years. The cost to pay the officers while suspended plus legal fees totaled more than $1.5 million. Pawtucket alone spent $268,000 on 4 cases. East Providence had only 1 LEOBOR case, but the city paid $14,000 in legal fees, and the officer was suspended for just 1 day. Rhode Island is just one of 14 states in the country that has a state law dictating how a police chief can discipline an officer. Anything more than a 2-day suspension can trigger a full-blown Bill of Rights hearing.
Earlier in the day,
Attorney Vincent Regasta, who has handled the lion's share of Bill of Rights cases for cities and towns, says Rhode Island has the strictest LEOBOR law in the nation.
The cost associated with a discharge case for a police officer, as opposed to any other public employee, is significantly more, and that is because of the procedural mind traps.
Here's how a LEOBOR hearing works. There's a 3-member panel made up of members of law enforcement. 1 pick is from the department, 1 from the officer in trouble, and the 3rd is a neutral choice agreed to by both parties or picked by a judge. The panel hears evidence, testimony, and renders a decision.
You can find bad examples in anything.
Attorney Joseph Rhode represents some of the largest police unions in the state. He says the law is critical in protecting the vast majority of good police officers in a job fraught with risk.
Of course there are some cases where LEOBOR protected maybe a police officer who did something wrong. Certainly there are. But that law protected many more police officers who would have been the victim of political shenanigans or political vendettas.
Commissioner Perry points out there are additional hidden costs that are very difficult to calculate, the most expensive of which is the overtime it takes to cover an officer's shift when he's suspended with pay. With the Target 12 investigators, Tim White, Eyewitness News.